Good morning. This is January the 4th, Thursday, 2024, and we are in BBIS first year compulsory English class, where we are going to start a new text, that is Rice Pudding by Indra Bahadur Rai. We have a presenter and we'll listen to the presenter. Please do come. What's your name? Come this side. Come on the camera. What's your name?
BBIS Malakar.
BBIS, we are being recorded and I'll be posting this video on social media Facebook page as well as YouTube. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, go on. Huh? Yes. Thanks, you remember. Go
on. Good morning, everyone. I am BBIS Malakar and I am here to present a presentation on the topic of rice pudding. Rice pudding by Indra Bahadur Rai. Indra Bahadur Rai was an Indian Nepalese language writer from Darjeeling. He was born in India, and let's begin the story. At the moment,
you click over there on the yes.
At the moment, this moment is 4 years back at night, and
4 years back at night. The story starts with a moment in time. That moment is 4 years back one night.
And at the moment, I had not been able to comprehend the incident clearly. I is a narrator, and a narrator is telling his point of view in this story.
To narrate means to tell a story, and narrator means who is telling us the story. There are 3 types of narrators. First person narrator, I am telling you the story. Second person narrator, you. Third person narrator, he. And here we have first person singular narrator, I. If it was we, it will be first person plural narrator. This is called narrative viewpoint. From whose viewpoint are we listening to the story? So we are listening to the story from the first person viewpoint.
The incident means that incident which is 4 years back. He had not understand clearly about that incident.
Okay, let me tell you. When you say the incident, when something happens to you and you were not consciously doing it, you were not, you didn't cause it. You didn't cause it, but something happened to you. Then that becomes an incident, right? An incident is a happening which happened to you, not because you wanted it to happen, but the situation was like that.
I had not recognized that it had some meaning. At that time, he did not recognize that the incident had some meaning, and the incident, if it might be called so, was as follows.
Okay, so he begins by saying the incident, right? So this whole story is about the incident, and you will see that this is a bigger incident, and inside the bigger incident there is a story. So there is a story within a story. there is a story within a story, right? There is bigger incident, and then within that incident, there is a second incident, second story. And then at the end of the story, at the end of this whole story, the writer tells the meaning of this incident. He says that from this incident, I learned that, right? At the end, go on.
Though I had many times read and written about the gusty flow of river Tista, this is the place in setting. This is the place.
You write the setting. When you read a story, you pay attention to setting, because a story is, what is a story? It is a world where there are people, things happening. So it has a place, it has a time, it has atmosphere. So this story took place by the bank of the river Tista somewhere in Darjeeling.
With a hum at the number of places in stories and novels, I had not yet heard the real sound of the river flowing downhill to my satisfaction.
You will see that there are a lot of auditory images in this story. Hum is the sound of something here. You will see more examples of sound, because this story is remarkable also for the description of nature. This story is remarkable also for the description of nature. Go on.
I also had heard from those who went to work on Tista Bank, both in winter and summer, that at midday and midnight it flowed with a long and overflowing gurgle. And I also had, I means that narrator, he has also heard from those who went to work on Tista. He had heard that river about those who went for work there.
So, see, when you say, I also had heard, it means this narrator had never before gone to Tista. That's why you say, I had heard. This narrator had never gone there before, and this was the first visit in his life. Go on.
Bank in both winter and summer, that at midday and midnight it flowed with a long and overflowing gurgle. Gurgle means
So first there was a hum. Now second word is gurgle. You pay attention, I said. There are words that describe the sound of the river Tista. These are called auditory images. Images that appeal to your ear. Go on.
but then my thirst and hunger to listen to its hum and not being quenched by our occasion stop along Kalimpong Gangtok highway. This is the place.
So look, he says, I often travel. Look, he says, I often travel along the Kalimpong Gangtok highway, and from the bus or cars that I traveled in, I often have heard the sound of the river, but I was not satisfied. So I wanted to enjoy the full pleasure of this river sound. So one night it happened so that I came to stay there in a guest house. Go on.
Gangtok is the capital city of Sikkim, and Kalimpong is the city in India.
Darjeeling.
Darjeeling, yes.
Kalimpong is in Darjeeling, and Gangtok is the capital city of Sikkim.
I stood on the bridge. Bridge is also a place for a while and had a quick look of the river on the both sides of the bridge. He stood on the bridge and looked at the both sides of the bridge, and the sight of innumerable reefs of the past, which were worth calling a great state, scribbled on apparently. Staying at the bridge, he remembered the many incidents of the past, which was
Okay, so he was standing on the bridge, right? The river is flowing below, right? And this speaker is standing on the bridge, and he looks down on the sand. He looks down, and then he recalls. Look what he says: innumerable ribs of the past. He has memories of the past, and looking just a minute, looking down on the sand, layer the sand. Read it. Read it.
Sleeping layer of the sand beside the flowing gush of greenish blue torrents of the water, the melodious crooning of Tista.
Look again, hum, gargle, crooning. See, I told you there are words describing the sound of the water flowing.
Of the Tista amidst an imagination of weeds and plants being fanned by the slap of gusty winds, tickling a different splash deep inside. In addition to a different sound of flapping wings, drove me to a different lane of memory.
Okay, look here. Standing on the bridge, looking on the river sand, this narrator. I'm not good at drawing, right? Is this eraser?
Yes.
Oh, why? Why it doesn't work? Give me the pen. Okay.
You can try it again.
Okay. So standing on the river, looking at the sand below on the river, standing on the bridge. He looks at the river, looks at the sand. And he remembers something. Now the story starts. So this story is a remembrance of something that had happened to him 4 years before. So there is a story inside this story. Go on.
And this memory he has talked there is a 4 years back. During one of my returns from Gangtok, I planned my overnight stay there on the bank of the Tista for a day. During his return from the Gangtok, he planned that he stayed on the
4 years before.
4 years before.
Go on.
Bank of Tista for a day. The guest house was being renovated. He stayed in a guest house which was being renovated, and the room I was allocated sent a strong reek of freshly applied lime washes. In his room, there is a freshly applied lime washes.
In old days, we did not have Asian paint. When you wanted to decorate your rooms, you will color walls with chuna. सुर्ती सँग खाने चुना हुन्छ नि त्यसलाई रङ बनाएर लगाउँथ्यो limestone.
Its bright whiteness was quite uncomfortable. This lime washes very bright.
The walls are very bright, so bright he feels uncomfortable. Go on.
The guest house adjacent to it had been occupied by the workers, carpenters, masons, painters, and porters busy in its renovation. The next room is occupied by the workers who is renovating that hotel.
Now you exactly know the location. There's river Tista, and by the river Tista side there's a guest house, right? There's a guest house, and in one room of the guest house the narrator is staying. In another room workers are staying. Exact setting of the story. 4 years before, one night by the riverside in one guest house, this story takes place.
They make up all the plot of this story. They all make up the plot of this story.
So this story is about the workers, okay? This story is about the workers. What workers? Carpenters, masons, painters, porters. And one thing, go on. One thing you understand, one viseshta that workers have is they always keep gossiping. Workers like talking. Whole day they work very hard. In the evening they will drink and talk. Go on.
They all had cuddled up, making the day a special one, and were busy in chit-chat, each trying to overtake the other. They were all sitting together and they want to...
You can read the whole paragraph and then paraphrase.
Some were cooking and their talk was centered on the same. In fact, they were preparing rice pudding.
Now, this is the first time in the story the word rice pudding is mentioned. Now you know exactly how the title comes.
Yes.
4 years ago, by River Tista Bank, in a guest house, some workers were living there to renovate the building, and one night they were making rice pudding.
Rice pudding. I do not enjoy discussion on food stuff. Yet I had no option in hand. I listened to their chit chat.
Look, earlier he said incident. What is an incident? Incident is something that happens to you when you have no option. That is called incident, right? An incident is something that happened to you and you had no option. Go on.
Outside the door, there was a tranquil brightness of the time, just past midnight.
Okay, I'm not sure because somewhere below it says dusk. So exact time, maybe it's evening, not exactly midnight, but it looked like midnight.
After I spread the mattress on the cot and looked out once again, the daylight had waned into dusk, whose dimmer light spilled through boughs and leaves of the trees around. I had not touched them all.
See the atmosphere. Daylight had waned and dusk was falling. Dusk is the joint between day and evening, day and night.
If we are to have rice pudding, we need 2 liters of milk for 250 grams of rice, said a voice repeatedly, emanating from someone with bright but caved-in eyes. This is a dialogue said by one of the workers in another room.
A story has characters and characters speak, that makes dialogue. And dialogue is very important element in any narrative. Go on.
He added, for the quantity of rice we now have, we need 10 liters of milk. How much milk did you pour? How much? It's 4 liters.
So this is how the discussion starts.
Yes.
They are making rice pudding, right? And the question comes, how much milk should we put here? This is how the gossip starts. Go on.
A fire on you, pudding with just 4 liters of milk at such a place like Tista, said the same voice that was bellowing earlier.
Maybe he means that Tista is a place where people keep a lot of animals, cows and buffaloes, and you can get a lot of milk. And coming at Tista only 4 liters, maybe that's the meaning, I'm not sure.
Putting in 4 liters of milk, he said in such a way that seemingly was a black tattered patch, and he was demonstrating the same to everyone.
Don't need to explain simple things, move on. We have 20 minutes time, you understand, right? You will read, I hope you get it, right? This is very simple, go on. Explain only difficult parts, or explain interpretations.
For real rice pudding, we require many ingredients, said a constantly rising and apparently ripe tone. In the first place, the quality of the rice you bought is wrong. You should have bought Nunia rice with the fine, smooth grains.
So look, they are talking about the quality of rice, right? So now the discussion centers on how to make perfect pudding. How to make perfect pudding. And toward the end, this will hint at how to get perfect life. Go on.
This is also known as the scented rice.
We call kalanamam.
Kalanamam, yes. Even alwa is extremely costly here, said the voice, apparently of a fat south man. They cheat us, exchanging Ranguinian alwa for hill rice.
One thing one way to tell people about your culture is tell them about your food. You are a Newar and you are proud of being Newar, and you meet an American and you want to give them impression of Newari thing, then you tell your Newari food, right? Here in this story, there are lots of varieties of rice mentioned here. And this tells the agricultural information about Darjeeling area, what kind of paddy crop was grown there, right? So look, Alwa and then Rangoni Alwa, then Bayarni, then Old Nunia, then Black Nunia. Go on. Move fast.
Your corpse is just like a hill, Bayarni said another seconding the previous speaker. If the ingredients are available and you want real pudding, he said without looking at anyone. Old Nunia is good, Black Nunia is even better. It sends a translizing. Smell should be cooked in some 10 to 12 liters of milk. If it's milky water, you need about 15 liters while 15 liters while boiling to send off 5 liters of water. All the rice seedings get crushed into a paste and all you have is gruel. If the milk is pure like a punch, the seeds remain intact. Gruel like pudding gets overcooked from below and reeks of the same, although one who gets his share from the bottom is.
The point they're making is, what they're saying, please get pure milk. He says, suppose you have 50-liter milk, there is 10-liter milk, and imagine there is 5-liter water. If you have this kind of milk, what will happen? You have the rice grain, and if you have water mixed milk, then as you boil the kheer, the pudding, the grain will break down because of water. Why? Because you have to boil for a long time to send off the water. Because there is half water in the milk. So to decrease the quantity of water in the milk, you have to boil for a long time. And when you boil for a long time, the grains break. And when the grains break, they turn into gruel. And when it becomes paste gruel, then it, the dot name. So do you see in this, what is this in this paragraph? Very remarkable. Here you see, click over there. What you see here is the process of pudding making, the process to make pudding. Remarkable. Go on. In the examination, you get a question. Describe the process of rice pudding in the story. And what is remarkable about that? And how that process resembles with life. Then he will be elaborate. And he will tell me, yes, Paliko Aija, Divagar Sadai Laija. Right? Because you got a difficult question. Wait a minute, and let me experiment. Honestly, beautiful Lena, how many of you have read? Raise your hand. You story Gharma Kolo Panu Asa?
मैले पढेँ सर.
Audience. दर्शकहरू एकजनाले लेख्नु भएको छ. अब यहाँ हेरौँ आपको शिक्षाको स्थिति कस्तो छ. बच्चा-बच्चीले मैले घरमा पढायो भने मैले यहाँ करिब 25 जना बच्चा छ, एकजनाले पढाएको छ. This is a shame. This is shame. Shame हो त यो. Shame हो कि पढायो भने हो नि. नभने पढ्नु काम छ नि. एकजना पढ्दा हो. अनि आउँछु त अनि उसै भएर बस्ने. Go on.
One who gets his share from the bottom is, I don't know if he said it's like brushing teeth or something like that. I did not clearly get him. Narrator did not clearly get what he said in this dialogue. And after a while, yet another voice came from another end. Will milk only do? You need pasta, raisins, almonds, cinnamon, coconut, bay leaf, and cloves too. This is the ingredients for making rice pudding.
So,
ingredients.
If you want best rice pudding, make sure you have these ingredients. Then the question comes, these ingredients make best rice pudding. Now the philosophical question comes, what makes best life? And the answer comes, neither you can have perfect rice pudding, nor you can have perfect life. So be happy with what you have. Be happy with what you have. Look, I'm happy. Be happy with what you have. Be practical. Don't be ideal as a teacher. आइडिया भयो भने त कोन पढाउनु पर्ने हो नि रियालिटी कुरा के हो आजले बच्चाले पढ्दैन I'm accepting I'm going on with the class so go with life as it is right don't expect perfection in rice pudding don't expect perfection in life because perfection is not possible go on we have 15 minutes we'll finish
We should cook it in a steady meal frames. Raisins should be added later. If added before, they can all get smashed. It said, "What difference does that make? I mean, adding all those things?" asked a shrill, curious voice. "It's for great taste, for flavor, for energy," shouted all, buzzing like insect.
Okay, here they talk about great taste in pudding, great flavor in pudding, great energy in pudding. So you can say life is also like pudding. So now question comes, how can you ensure great taste in life? Answer is not possible. Not possible.
This is
Accept life as it is. Go on.
This is also a process story, process of making rice pudding.
Okay, this is a process narrative. A story that talks about the process of making rice pudding. Go on.
"Beware, you can be addicted," said a voice seemingly like the remnant of the earlier bantering. "You may seek for pudding even in dreams, may console yourself that way. If pudding is prepared here..."
Look, he says, if you make pudding this way as I'm telling you, if you make pudding the way I'm telling you, it will be so sweet that you will be addicted. And you will dream about this pudding. Look, this is go. काम गर्ने मान्छे बानी के हुन्छ गफारी हुन्छ नि दिनभरि काम गर्यो हल्का लोकन्ट्री लगाएको होला अनि खिर पकाइरहेछ एउटाले अरूले चाहिँ सिकाउँछ यसरी पका गफ लगाउँछ राइट but this gaf becomes philosophy because finally the writer says I learn about life from this gaf go on.
"If pudding is prepared here, the flavor reaches the nose of the passerby there on the road," said another man carefully.
With exaggeration. If I cook here, the nose of passer over there will smell, right? Go on.
Carefully, I tried to feel the smell of their pudding. No, I could not feel any of it.
That means their pudding was not very good. The pudding they were making was not good. Although they were talking about how to make best pudding.
Your pudding, its flavor does not even reach someone sitting very near," said the oldest of them blatantly. This means satire. "And it's you who refused to contribute cash."
when he complained, your pudding is not good quality, he said, "अघि पैसा दिने बेला चाहिँ चुप लाएर बस्छस् बुढा अहिले चाहिँ यो भने त्यो भने भन्छस् लोक is complaining." He said when he complains that your pudding is not very good, he says earlier when we were collecting money you didn't pay much money and now you're complaining.
We should eat and live on. What if we have to steal on postpone others' payment? We must have got to live on.
Now this dialogue is very important. Look, it is we should eat and live on. Don't eat what you have. Be happy with what you have. Be satisfied with what you have, right? What if we have to steal? Do not try to eat better by stealing others. Do not try to eat better by earning other people's share. Do not try to eat better by giving trouble to others. We must have guts to live on with what we have. This is one of the important dialogues in the story because it teaches one lesson. Be satisfied with what you have and enjoy what you have. Enjoy what you have.
All of their voices are quiet. I happen to be waiting for this same silence. The narrator is waiting for the same silence, giving a tapping on the ground in reaction. I entered my room and started moving about. The announcement of my presence forced the flow of their chit-chat in another direction, as does the rolling boulder to a river. It does not suffice to gather ingredients. One also needs the skills to cook them, said someone, making an initiation phrase like white paper.
Two things. Pudding needs ingredients. but it also needs skill. Now, what is life? Life, to have better life, you need resources, right? But you also need skill to manage resources. Look, I have 1 billion rupees, and if I don't know how to spend the money, my life will be hell. Just as pudding, you have ingredients, but that's not enough. You must know how to use them. Life, you have resources, you must know how to manage life. So that's why life is an art.
It's not good to eat pudding every day. You should find proper time and mood. Another one said, if so, eating pudding is not easy. Said another, letting out an arc out, impossible. He said, unable to hold my laughter, I looked out. Everything looked quite ordinary. The dark trees stood motionless in the night. Stir else, it can get burned.
Very philosophical line. Okay, let me show you. Stir else it is. You must keep stirring the pudding. It will be burned. How can you apply it in this life? In life also, keep moving. Don't be stagnant. Keep moving in life. If you don't move in life, life will be burned. Go on.
Maybe it's cooked now. It's cooked. Now the rice pudding is cooked. No, it's not properly cooked yet. It's ready, they claimed, and removed the pot from the fireplace. I could sense that they all moved a few steps backwards while others selected proper spots for themselves and sat down while they were eating. Someone asked, it smells of something uncomfortable. The pudding...
Here is a conflict now.
Yes.
Now there is some smell, right? Okay, go on.
I feel the same. It's firewood. I have carefully smelled it for long. Said someone. Their suspicion kept rising and dying out. It's sort of sugar, said someone, and walked a few steps, brought some sugar and added to his shares. If you like pudding to be sweeter, add
jaggery.
Add jaggery, not sugar. Add jaggery, not sugar. Jaggery means sakhar, not sugar, but it imparts a great color to, said the man who initiated the conversation before. The jaggery imparts a great color.
They understand. If you don't, they will say, nobody has this.
Black jaggery won't do. Palm jaggery that comes in layers is best. The second one offered an immediate corrigendum. How to eat pudding with black jaggery. Poo भनेको छ्या. How much should we talk eating? छ्या हामी कति कुरा गर्छौँ खाने बेला भनेको यो चाहिँ हैन. And you have hardly had any pudding today. You started talking so big it makes me ashamed.
Read it fast.
He had said it loud enough to make me hear. He had thus tried to lighten his guilt to some extent. They all got busy in a few gulps of pudding. It is in no way better than mere rice in milk and sugar. When a bold voice made this remark, they all burst into laughter. The man who claimed of good cooking skills laughed for the longest time. When he carried on his intermittent laughter, others laughed out as well.
And the remarkable thing in this paragraph is, you should enjoy life.
Yes.
Life, keep laughing, keep smiling, enjoy life. Look, these people putting ramar banana, but they're enjoying. Enjoy what you have. Go on.
They all are happy in this paragraph. They all are laughing together.
Now, this is the meaning of the incident. This is the meaning. In the very first paragraph, he said, an incident, it is meaning. Right now, here's the meaning. Read it.
After 4 years, I comprehended. This is the present. He just understand. I comprehended the true essence of that incident today. The pudding they were making, it's like our life.
See the comparison. This is called analogy. We call this analogy. Analogy is where you compare two things. So here is pudding, and this pudding is compared to life. This is called analogy. Go on.
Our minds are full of ideas that makes us think we should live life this way, put it to such and such work, and use it this way or that. But in reality, however, our life always plagued by errors, scarcities, and wanting is more like the pudding, which was like a crude parody of the ideal pudding they were talking about.
Look, I'll explain. I'll explain the whole paragraph.
Bye.
Okay, so let me I'll explain you. See, so they compare pudding with life, and what he says, accept that in life we all make errors. In life we suffer with scarcities. We suffer once we can't fulfill our desires. So life is like pudding. Like the pudding they were making was crude. Right? They were talking about ideal pudding, but they could not make ideal pudding. They were making real pudding. Real pudding is never like ideal pudding. Real life is never like ideal life. So don't die for ideal life, right? In ideal life, the next story paper we read, I'll compare that. So pudding they were talking about, couldn't life be like tista? Now this very important question. What is tista? Tista is, it keeps flowing whatever comes on the way. Tista, the river, keeps flowing whatever comes it's on her way. So in life also we should be like river. We should move out without caring about boulders and stones that come on our way, which is nothing but an ideal, no matter where it flows and how. So you don't care about your errors and scarcities and wants. Be happy and satisfied with what you have in your life and move ahead. Just as the Tista river doesn't care about its bends and corners and stones, and it keeps moving. So do you see, in this story, the river Tista is also a very important character. There are two types of characters, living characters and non-living characters. So this river is central character in this story, because everything happens because of the river. Everything happens by the bank of the river. So Tista is treated here like a living character. And the story begins with Tista, because he remembered the whole thing by while he was standing on the bridge of Tista, and the story ends with Tista. Right? Go on. Okay, we have come to the end. Now come this side. Share the class. If you learned any lesson of life from this story, you read.
We have to accept the life what it is, and
accept life as it is.
There is so many things we want to do, but do not go after that. We don't have an ideal life. Just accept it what it is.
You know, the workers, they were discussing, debating. You are pudding mat, you are eseri paka, but khane bela ganai rathi. Khane bela ganai rathi. पकाउने बेलामा महाभारत भइरहेको थियो, यसरी पका उसरी पका, दुनियाँको खाने बेला ब्याड स्मेल आइरहेको थियो नि, लाइफ पनि त्यस्तै हो. तर ब्याड स्मेल आए पनि they were laughing and eating. लाइफमा नि ब्याड स्मेल आउँछ. Accept it as it is. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. नपढिकन आउने अनि हाम्रो भाइको नाम के रे? BBIS र दिवाकर सरले सबै कुरा भनेपछि ताली बजाउनु. भोलि कस्तो पेपर कहिले दिनु? सर. Who is presenting paper?